Colleagues, I want to take you back in time, just for a moment. Back to the 1950s, way beyond our time, when an army of 500,000 people left our shores to head for the UK, cities up and down the country. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Back then, the 50s was a barren place to be in this country. Unemployment was high, family sizes were high, poverty was the order of the day. There was not much to look forward to. Opportunity was a word that was way down in our vocabulary. But this army of people did us proud. They performed with aplomb. Imagine the train stations up and down the country when they were leaving their families saying goodbye. Thousands of people were locked up in institutions in this country. They grabbed the opportunity to escape and go to foreign shores. They were going to a land of adversity, an enemy land in some respects. But reflect on their courage, their initiative, and their determination. To cast ashore and reach out for that new life. So off they went. And oh, did they work so hard. The jobs they got on construction sites up and down the country, they worked night and day. They jumped into the back of wagons. They built the motorways. They rebuilt Britain after the war. Oh, we should be so proud of these people. Our greatest resource, as always being said, is our people. They were our shining light, and they worked with a smile on their face. And oh boy, did they socialise. They teamed together. They built huge social institutions. For example, the Galtymore in Cricklewood and the National Ballroom in Kilburn. Over 7,000 people was in the Galtymore in 1967 to see Larry Cunningham make his debut. Showbands went across from here, and this army of people socialised, and they showed us how to smile and how to laugh, and how to have a drink and how to share a drink. And I was fortunate to be over at some stage in the 80s when I was going to college for summers working, to see this all executing and us performing. And you wondered how it was all going to end up. But they shared everything they had. They shared their experience, they shared their journey. They offered words of wisdom. But they carried on. They always dreamt of coming back, and they always shared their memories. And I guess when they were working, and they turned on the radio at 10 o'clock in the morning to listen to a fellow Irishman, Terry Wogan. He offered the warmth of the Irish, and he offered them that sense that they were in a home away from home, which was quite beautiful. But as life moves on, it brings changes. And as the years sped into the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, an economic climate came through that wiped a lot of these jobs away. At that stage, the army split up. The ones that had performed they went on to better things. They left their friends behind to live in squalor accommodation, bedsits, isolation, misery, a life of fear. And they were the group that were known as the Forgotten Irish, because it took charity organisations in the UK to come to the rescue. The Irish government took far too long. They forgot about this army of people that had rebuilt Britain and put their lives and souls into it. And we look at this in terms of the moral of the story for our life and how something as simple as that can happen. The centre of those people's life was the pub. That was their essence. Share a drink. They teamed together. They got jobs for each other. They helped each other out. They were the Fighting Irish. And they performed with aplomb. And when I seen it all in motion, that was like a university degree for me. I was doing my college, my studies back in Galway. But to see this executing in London was something else. And one of my best friends, when I stayed with him in Kildare, when I went back 20 years later, I was shocked to the core to see him walking the streets. So it touched my life. And that's why I will never forget the forgotten Irish. And going back to the moral of the story, I guess the key for us in life is not to take our health for granted. Not to take our mental health for granted. Keep focus. Keep a vision. Keep a sense of purpose. And above all, not take your family for granted. And not take your friends for granted. Because someday, we're all going to need them. But most of all, I think for us Toastmasters, is to remember the forgotten Irish in our prayers. And remember the people that have nobody to pray for them. Thank you very much.
Well done.